Welcome to Paranormal Heart Podcast, Paranormal Talk with Heart and Soul. Tonight's segment is pre-recorded, streaming on United Public Radio Network, 107.7 New Orleans, 105.3 the Gulf Coast, YouTube, and any place you find your favorite podcast. Thank you so much for hanging in with us tonight. Before I get to my guest, I have to apologize. StreamYard is doing some pretty wonky things. I couldn't put my usual little intro there, so I just had to jump right in. I do apologize for that. Technical issues, apparently. So, my dear Haunted Hearts, for segment 89, I'm joined by Brian Paone. Brian is an author who spent 8 weeks inside the haunted Missouri State Penitentiary writing a horror novel about a ghost hunting gone wrong. Alone at night in one of America's most haunted prisons, he kept a diary of every paranormal or unexplained experience that happened during his stay, which was later included at the end of the book. The project's success led to another writing stay at the haunted Ditto House, where he spent 3 weeks writing the sequel, this time adding a Bigfoot subplot. I love that. He was also in a few metal bands, and apparently he is a time travel buff, and with any luck, he might even tell us a little bit about his dream car. So please help me welcome Brian.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm great as well. Thank you. Again, I apologize for the technical issues. For whatever reason, the beginning of the podcast did not start, but the show must go on.
It's all right. We could always act one out or something. I don't know. Impromptu intro.
Right. So before, actually, I'll get you to do that at the end. So what first inspired you to become a writer, and when did you realize storytelling was something you really wanted to pursue seriously?
Well, I'd always been writing since I was young. When I was in 7th grade, I would spend the weekends writing short stories, and I would bring them into school. And one of my friends, his name is Jason Leck, he would read the story and then design a front cover for me. You know, This is 7th grade, right? So we're like really young. Yeah. And then I would staple it all together with the front cover on, and I would pass it around to the class. And it got to the point where Monday mornings, there was a handful of kids that would ask me, "Hey, did you write anything over the weekend? You get any new stories?" And I was like, I was like, people actually, they're terrible stories. In fact, I still have them.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I still have them. What I actually did to preserve them was I took all of the old stories I had written in 7th, 8th, 9th grade, and I made a book out of them, like an actual paperback, so I could have a copy. They're all like collected in a paperback. So it's kind of cool. But it was like, I loved it. I loved creating worlds. And then my stepmother bought me my first Stephen King book as a Christmas present.
Nice.
And I think that changed everything.
What was the title?
The Dark Half.
Okay.
My first King book. It was my first adult horror novel. Mm-hmm. Up until then, I had been reading Christopher Pike and some other, really kind of young reader-ish, horror novels, Mm-hmm. King was the first adult book where it was grown-up words, grown-up situations, R-rated, or, whatever.
Yep.
And I just remember going, wow, I was like, this is a thing. Like, this is what I want to do. And I never stopped writing. I minored in creative writing and American Lit in college. And my first novel was published in 2007. So it's 18 years now. My first book came out, and I have 14 published novels now. So 14 books in 18 years. So I guess I average a book every 14 to 16 months. I'm really bad at math, but that tends to be, if you take the 18 years and divide it by 14, I think I'm at like 14 months a book or something, whatever, for the last almost 2 decades. So yeah.
That's a lot of books.
I'm actually on chapter 3 right now of what will eventually be my 15th book. I'm doing a dark fantasy spin on the Hallmark Christmas rom-com movies.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah, it wasn't originally going to be that. It was originally going to be a straightforward rom-com, like just really super sticky cute. But I guess I can't stay in my lane because now I've decided to bring in an evil genie who may or may not wind up being Krampus, who's like leading her astray with the guy that she fell in love with. So it started as this Hallmark, and now it's turning into a horror Christmas rom-com, which I don't even know if you can put those three things together, but we're gonna try.
It's a thing now.
It's a thing. Yeah,
I really love that concept.
Yeah, let's see what my editor says.
So your book spans several genres like horror, sci-fi, thriller.
Yep.
What draws you to the darker or more mysterious themes?
Well, two things. One, just to address the whole like genre thing, because you're right. I have a historical war novel. I have an urban crime thriller. I have, I do have a lot of. I do write in genres other than the macabre, because they say you're supposed to you're supposed to write what you like to read, and I like to read everything, right? Mm-hmm. So what the heck am I supposed to write? My three favorite authors are probably Stephen King, Ernest Hemingway, and Sylvia Plath. You put those three together and like, what the crap, right? So you got the bell jar, and you've got, anything Hemingway wrote, and then you got, Pennywise. So it's like, I don't, so a lot of influence there. And then probably Clive Barker and Anne Rice, probably close 4 and 5.
Yeah.
But the other thing is I was born and raised in Salem, Massachusetts, and I lived there until I was 30. So from birth, I was born in Salem Hospital proper, and I didn't move out of the area until I was 30. So the first 3 decades of my life, I lived in Salem, Massachusetts. So I know a lot of people who became adults and moved to Salem for the allure, but they were already interested in the occult and the macabre, I guess. I hate using the word again. But when you're born there and you are 3 years old, 4 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old, 15 years old, and you're surrounded constantly, it's a fabric of who you are. You don't shake it. It's who you are. So, there's a very good chance. It would be interesting if there was a way to kind of take me and clone me and have the same me be born in like Oklahoma.
Yep.
And then like see the parallel. Like, did Salem shape me, or would this have always been me? But did being born and raised in Salem, Massachusetts, be the catalyst to what I fell in love with? So there's no way to know, because I can't go back in time and then have me be born somewhere else and then see the difference, right? But it'd be a really neat experiment. And I always wonder, is my love for it because of where I'm from, or is that just who I would have been anyway? Would I have been one of those adults who flocked to Salem, as an adult anyway? So, and I just lucked out, roll of the dice, and I lucked out to be born there. So
I like to think that you'd still, if you were born someplace else, you'd still have that essence. But like being born in Salem, like that probably had a big help in your creativity.
Yeah, and then you throw in the one thing that the other caveat is I also lived in a funeral home.
Yes.
So, yeah.
What was that like?
We could do a whole show on living in a funeral home in the Salem, Massachusetts area, because that is a whole thing. I from 8 to 16, so my formative late years. So I've seen more dead people than most people, So
wow,
it was nothing to walk through the funeral home and there's somebody laying there in a casket, just that was the house.
Wow.
And there was some paranormal things that happened while I living there, which was there's a handful of things because so growing up, because I was living there, in my school age years, half of my friends begged to have a sleepover every weekend, and the other half of my friends refused to even come over for like an afternoon snack. Like, half of my friends were terrified that I lived there, and the other half like just kept begging, "Oh, when's your next sleepover? When's your next sleepover?" So
have a sleepover in the coffins.
Don't tell my mom.
Oh no. Okay.
Even though she watches all of these podcasts. I guess it's okay now, right? She can't. I don't. She can ground me now. But we used to play hide and seek, and I would hide in like caskets in the showroom.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
Nice. What made you to decide to actually live inside a haunted prison while writing the book?
The Missouri State Penitentiary.
Yeah.
That was happenstance, and they suggested it, which was crazy. So what happened was, outside of being a published author, I do have a 9-to-5 job. I have a a regular 9-to-5 career, and I had to go for an 18-week training course in Missouri. So I lived there, right, for 18 weeks. It was like week 7 or 8, we started running out of things to do on the weekend, because we lived in like the barracks, and you just run out of things to do. We were in the middle of nowhere, Missouri. So we started like reaching out and branching to see what else there was to do in the weekends, so we wouldn't go crazy. And one of the guys that I was in the training class with, and these were the people in the training class were from all over the country, right? It wasn't just like my job, it was everywhere. One of the guys says, "Hey, the Missouri State Penitentiary has overnight ghost hunts. Do you want to go do that?" And now I've never been on one in my life. So 2024, Brian's going on his first overnight ghost hunt. You would think someone like me, who's from Salem, where I'm a horror junkie, I'm a horror, at the end of the day, I am a horror or dark fiction author. Grew up in a funeral home, and I never went ghost hunting before. Right. So I was like, yes, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, a whole group of us went. And I remember that when they made the announcement that there was 1 hour left, we had already been there 7 hours. It was like an 8-hour ghost hunt. And I wasn't ready to leave. I was like, what? We only have an hour left? And all the guys I was with were tired. They're like, oh, you guys want to pack it in now? Because they let you rent out the equipment. Like for free. So if you give them your driver's license, they'll let you, you can take a K2 meter. You can, they let you borrow all this gear. I'd never held this stuff before. I was like a kid in a candy store.
I was just thinking that, kid in a candy store. Yeah.
Yeah. Just so excited to be there. And I'm like, what do you mean you guys want to leave? You don't want to, they're like, let's turn in our K2 meters early and get a head start on the way home. Cause it was like 2 a.m. I think they were closing at 3 that night. They're talking about leaving early. I'm trying to figure out a way to hide somewhere so the staff doesn't find me and I can continue ghost hunting. Like, I was bit by the bug, right? I was so enamored by it that I went on their website and saw that the very next weekend, not only were they having another overnight ghost hunt, but they had 2 special guests there. They had Nesper, who's in charge of Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum. And they had Get Haunted from Pennsylvania, and they're a professional ghost hunting crew. And I was like, oh my God, so Nesper was there with a bunch of artifacts from the Warren Museum, and Get Haunted were there with all their super high-tech ghost hunting gear, not just the K2 meter that you get for free if you give your driver's license. We're talking full-on Estes method stuff. We're talking, REM pods everywhere, EVP recorders. They show up, right? They show up and they put on a show. And there was so many people there for that. So many more people than when I was there the weekend before, because people were there because they wanted to see the artifacts from the Warren Museum, and they wanted to, ghost hunt with a professional ghost hunting crew that are on TV and all this. It was full. And Rob, the owner of Get Haunted, what he does is he broke up the whole audience into 4 groups. And he just happened to do it by rows. So it's like, all right, these 2 rows are group 1, these 2 rows are group 2, et cetera, et cetera.
Gotcha.
And he put me and all the people I went with from my training class with the row of people in front of us. And one of the people that was in the row in front of us was this woman named Hannah from Iowa. We are complete strangers, but now we're together for the next 4 hours, because the way Get Haunted run their events is it's an 8-hour ghost hunt. The first 4 hours are structured. So you go with one of them to the most haunted locations, and you take time with the gear. They teach you how to use the gear. They let you use the gear. And then then at the 45-minute mark, you move to the next location, and then all the groups kind of go around, right? And then at the end of the 4 hours, then they let you, like, then you go, like, go have fun. You have 4 hours to do whatever you want. Free roam, they call it.
Nice.
Well, during those 4 structured hours, me and Hannah, started talking and chit-chatting, and I'm walking around and I'm watching the guys from Get Haunted, and I'm watching how many people were there and having different experiences. And I did the Estes method in the gas chamber, and I had a really crazy experience in there, something I just couldn't, something I'd never experienced before. And I said, I think there's a book here. I don't know what it is yet. I don't have any semblance of a storyline whatsoever. Yeah. What's happening right now, this should be a book. This should be like a ghost hunt gone wrong. Like, what if we're all in here trying to communicate, and what if, like, the ghosts have just had it? Like, that's enough. We're done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but that's all I had. That is all I had. I had already pitched my next book to my editor, which is actually going to be now my next book after this Christmas rom-com Krampus book. Mm-hmm. It's a dark fantasy book, set in a neo-noir kind of like dark city in The Crow meets Silence of the Lambs, and there's going to be gargoyles and I really have like very like almost like an 80s like the tone of like Legend and Labyrinth sort of, but darker and like that, and I was already outlining it in my head, and I emailed my editor the next morning. I was like, I have an idea. I want to write about a ghost hunt gone wrong. It's going to take place over one night. Whole book's just going to be one night. It's going to open when the guests get there, and the book's going to end when it's time to go. And I want it to read at the same length of time that the guests are in there. In other words, like, so my book, which is, I know I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but it's called These Walls Still Talk. And it should take you about 7 hours to read. In fact, the audiobook is 7 hours and 12 minutes. It takes place over the course of 7 hours. So I wrote it to match the length of time it should take someone to read it. So it's almost like there's a GoPro on my main character's head.
Okay.
And never cut scene. Right. So anyway, so I wanted to do it at Missouri State Penitentiary. I really wanted my book to take place there. But I needed permission. I didn't want to run into any copyright issues. I didn't want copyright, because it's not copywritten, but I didn't want to run into any sort of cease and desist letters from them. You're painting us in the bad light. People are dying on our tour. Like, that's bad for business, because companies, can step in and say, you're showing us in the bad light. So I reached out to one of the tour guides, Jenny. And I was like, I don't know if you remember me, but I was there 2 weekends in a row, and she remembered me. A conversation that we had, I used to remind her. And I was like, I'm an author, and I want to set a Ghost Hunt Gone Wrong novel at MSP. And if it's not allowed, that's cool. I'm a writer. I can create a fake prison. I mean, that's what we do as authors, right? We world build. I was like, so if you guys say no, I'll just make another prison that very much resembles yours, and I'll just name it something else. Yep. No big deal. And she was like, I love this idea so much, but I need to push this up to the boss. So Sheila is in charge of the prison. So she pushed it up to Sheila, and me and Sheila started talking about the idea. And somewhere through our conversations, it went from, not only would it be awesome if you used MSP as the location in your book, but how would you like to stay here and write it? And I was like, do what now?
I'm dreaming.
I'm so enamored by the place that I couldn't wait to go back a week after the first time going. And the second visit was so powerful to me that now I'm ready to like make it part of my canon of my, writing career. And they're offering to let me stay there to write the book. I mean, yeah, it was crazy. And I did. I had a very strict set of rules of do's and don'ts, cans and can'ts. That if I violated any of them, Sheila would be like, I'll kick you out. These are things you can't, for safety reasons, for this reason. And so I was there for 8 weeks. And I kept a diary of everything weird that happened to me through the 8 weeks. And my editor talked me into including the diary at the back of the book. So I wasn't originally going to do that. I was keeping the diary just for my own like notes. And my editor was like, why aren't you putting this at the back of the book? Like, this is crazy. Like, you read the book and then you actually read everything that happened to you while you were there, on specific nights, and then when the book, when word got out through the paranormal community, which I was not part of when this started, but word, I started doing a lot of social media presence with it. I was on TikTok, I was on Instagram, I was on Facebook, I was posting every night from there. And I started to get a little bit of a paranormal community following. And when the book came out, it made a little bit of noise in the paranormal world. And the husband and wife team, Ernie and Denise, who own Kentucky's most haunted inn, the Ditto House, asked me if they were like, well, would you ever write a second book? And I was like, no. I was like, there isn't supposed to be another book. I mean, this isn't a series. This is a one and done.
Yeah.
The more we talked, and the more they were like, well, we'll give you a room, for as long as you need to if you want to write another book, you can stay here. And I started doing some research about the Ditto House. Not only is the Ditto House Kentucky's most haunted inn, and you can Google the words Kentucky's most haunted inn, and you're going to like, this is not like hyperbole and me overselling the house. It's literally Googleable search that it is deemed. People come from all over the country to stay there. Not only is it the super haunted, but it's surrounded by woods that have one of the highest concentration of Sasquatch sightings in the East Coast. So I joke that it's the Bermuda Triangle. Like, it's like you have ghosts like just walking around these halls, and you have like Bigfoot out in your woods, and like, and not just like one or two people see, like, people go there to what's called squatch. And I didn't even know that was a term until I went there. So they go squatching there. And there's a gentleman by the name of Greg Youst. His nickname is Squatch Man. And him and Ernie and Denise Pack, who own the Ditto House, they once a month or once every other month hold an event where people come in from all over the place and they go squatching together out in their woods. And so while I was there writing, I bounced my time in between writing inside the Ditto House or writing out in the woods. And so this book, the second book, which is called Unpacking the Ditto House, I really didn't want to write the same exact book again. I didn't want a ghost hunt gone wrong just in another location, because all I'm doing is recycling, right? I did not want to recycle. So this book relies heavily on the Sasquatch. It's a haunted house versus cryptid novel. I really played into. There's no ghost hunt going on in this book. It's about a couple who buys the house. It opens with them being given a tour of the house by the realtor. They wind up buying it, and they are getting a lot more than they bargained for. They had no idea that there was squatches in the woods, and so that's the storyline of Unpacking the Ditto House. So, and I went squatching with Squatch Man 3 times, I think. And there's some crazy stuff in those woods. Like, it's, and again, I kept a diary, and again, my diary is at the back of the book, which is a completely different set of things that happened to me.
I think that's a little different for books, and I love that idea of having your diary at the end of the book. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's hard to do that with a book where you're not on location. Like, I think an author's diary would be somewhat boring. Like, day 4, drinking my coffee again at my desk. Surfing checking my Facebook account. Like, my diary is, is like crap happening to, like being in these locations away from home. Trying to finish these books while stuff's going on around me.
Was there a moment when you seriously questioned yourself staying at these 2 locations to write a book? Like,
because I was scared?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we can do like each location here. So at MSP, at Missouri State Penitentiary, I remember it was one of the first nights I was there. and I was writing in housing unit 4, which used to be general population, so it's huge. I was the only one in the building. I can unequivocally tell you I was the only one in the building, because there was only one other person on the entire 47 acres, and they were in the office, which was 100 yards from me, like, sitting at a desk. And I heard a cell door close right above my head, and it just echoed through the whole building. And I jumped up, and but there was no cell door closed. So was it like a residual sound, like nothing actually closed, but I'm telling you right now, it was that old school sliding metal clang. Yep. And that was, I left, I closed my laptop, and I ran to the office, and the only other person who was on the property was sitting at the desk, with a Starbucks. They were not in there. There's no way, like, I had a couple, I saw a bunch of things. I had some run-ins. There's a ghost there that's frequently seen by a lot of the guests, and the staff sees it constantly. They've named him the Creeper because he kind of gets down on like all fours, and he can scamper across the walls like a spider.
Oh, that's really creepy.
I saw him twice. The first time I saw him, the second time I saw him, so whenever MSP has, they have a uniformed police officer on duty there. And they had a cop that night, and I don't say she's a believer nor a skeptic. She was just there doing her job. Yeah. Like, the cops don't go to ghost hunt. They're there for a job, Yep. That's their duty for the night. Well, we were sitting and talking, and it was me and her, the police officer, and one of the tour guides. It was just the three of us. And we're having a conversation about, I forget what, and she's in the middle of the conversation says, something is touching my right leg. And me and the tour guide, and she was too scared to look down. And me and James, the tour guide, looked down, and her entire right leg was gone. Like if someone had taken a pillowcase and like draped it in front of her leg.
Okay, right? Yeah.
You couldn't see her leg. You could see her left leg, but her right leg there was like nothing. It was like void, right? And she said out loud, whatever is touching my leg, I really wish you would go or stop. And the three of us watched the Creeper run across the floor and disappear underneath the sink into the wall. All three of us just looked at each other like silence, and we were like, and we're done. And we got up. It was like covering her leg, and it did that whole like scamper thing across the floor. Yeah. I never seen anything like that before. And I think I screamed, she screamed, James screamed, the Creeper screamed, we were all like, it was something.
Oh, if a haunted place could remember every person who entered it, what do you think the MSP and the Ditto House would remember about you?
Oh, he's back. MSP, he's back again. He plays terrible music. Yeah, so I think the Ditto House was interesting because the longer I stayed there, the more activity seemed to happen. It was almost like they were getting comfortable with me. Yeah. It ramped up the longer I was there. At MSP, there's so much activity there. There might be so much energy there that you don't even know if you're looking at the same thing twice. They have shadow figures everywhere, and you don't know if it's the same person you saw the night before. Mm-hmm. They have so many shadow people there. They call them the Peekers. That they have a T-shirt they sell, which I own. It says "Don't fear the Peekers." Oh, because they're so common. Like you see them all come peeking out of the cells and stuff. They're just I think maybe they would remember that, I was very friendly and I talked out loud to them a lot and I was respectful. And I was trying to tell their story in a horror version way, I guess. Yeah.
And probably they're used to paranormal teams going in, and sometimes I wonder if they're saying, oh, it's the weekend. Oh, who's going to show up this time? But you were there writing a book, so they
Right.
probably were curious about that too.
Yep. Yeah. We had the book release party back at MSP.
Mm-hmm.
June, July, August, September. What's 12 minus 3? 9 months after I left. And I feel like when I went back and I walked in the building after 9 months for the book release party, it felt very welcoming.
Yeah.
It was, it wasn't anything specific. It was like, I felt like I was home, or these were my people.
Yeah.
And I was in an empty building, but I felt like they knew I was there. They knew I was back. Right.
Yeah.
If anybody who's watching this, I'll do a shameless plug right now. Sure. September 12th, I think, or September 13th, whatever that Saturday is.
Mm-hmm.
One of those 2 days is a Saturday. That Saturday is the These Walls Still Talk event at Missouri State Penitentiary. I'm flying out for it. The whole staff is going to be on hand. We're going to be selling books, and we're going to be doing tours. I'm going to be taking people around to all the locations where I wrote, to all the locations where major scenes in the book happened. And then we're going to let people go free roam and investigate on their own. So if anybody who's watching this or listening ever had the itching to go to Missouri State Penitentiary to ghost hunt, that would be the day to do it, because I'll be there, and we're making it an actual event.
Nice. So, I really wish I could go. That would be so fun.
Yeah, it stinks that Missouri is in the middle of the country. It's like not easily accessible to anybody, but we're hoping, people, the book's been out long enough now. So I'd love for people who have read the book to be like, oh my God, like, wait a minute, the author's going to be at MSP and he's going to be giving, talking about it and walking people around.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to that and, see where all these things happen. See where, in his diary, he talks about, when this thing happened to him. So I don't, there's not a lot of books that aren't historical, that are 100% fiction, where you can visit the place. Because a lot of books are made up locations, right? I know the Stanley Hotel is a pilgrimage for a lot of Stephen King fans, because that's what the Overlook was based off of, but this is MSP as it exists in my book. The Ditto House in Kentucky, you can book a room if you want to stay there overnight. It's a mini inn, and Ernie and Denise have, they book all the time, and if you want to sleep there, you can. So with my book, it's one of those things where if you read Unpacking the Ditto House, you're like, crap, I want to sleep there for a night. You can, they open the house up for guests to sleep. So that's a lot of fun too.
I wonder how many people spend the night knowing it's haunted, but they don't stay the night. They're just like, I had enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had that conversation with them. I don't know if you know the TV show Haunted Happenings. Is that the name of it? No. It's on Discovery Channel. That's wrong. It's not Haunted Happenings. Haunted Discovery.
Haunted Discovery.
Discovery. They did a whole episode. Yeah, they did a whole episode of the Ditto House. They filmed. Yeah. So that kind of helped the popularity of the house, and a lot of people wanting to stay there after that. And they got some stuff on the show, because they stayed overnight. And Ernie and Denise vacated, and they got a lot of stuff on camera. They got a lot of readings, and then, then I go stay there for 3 weeks and write the stupid book.
I just love that idea of you stay. I'm sure other authors have done that with other books, not necessarily this genre, but to me, it's just so intriguing that an author is staying at the location where he's writing the book, and then having that event afterwards. It's almost like watching your favorite movie, and then you get to go see where they filmed it, and then get to meet the author, and that's really amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. So I when for people listening or watching, the book release party for that book, consisted of it was 2 nights long. The first night was ghost hunting in the Ditto House, and the second night was squatching out in the woods. So we tried to tie, because the book has both, you know, a 50-50 balance of ghosts and cryptids. Instead of just doing one book release party like we did at MSP, you know, we split it and did the ghost hunting and the swatching. So that's, you know, that was kind of a neat thing to organize and stuff.
Yeah. Were there any differences staying at the Haunted Inn as opposed to the prison in Missouri?
The biggest thing, the two things. One, I wasn't allowed to sleep at the prison.
Okay.
So I had a hotel room down the road. But that didn't mean that I didn't stay in the prison until like 6 a.m. some nights, 5 in the morning, 3 a.m. The hotel, I couldn't actually like lay down and like go to sleep, right?
Okay.
So I would leave and go catch a couple hours of sleep in the hotel, shower, you know, reset, change my clothes, and then I would drive back to Missouri State Penitentiary. So there was always you know, when am I leaving tonight? You know, some nights I left at 2 a.m. Some nights I left at 3 a.m. Some nights it was all the way until 6 a.m. and the sun was coming up, you know?
Oh, yeah.
The Ditto House, I had a room. Like, I got keys, you know, Ernie and Denise gave me a key. I had a room. Like, this was my room for 3 weeks. I slept there. I lived there. I showered there. I didn't leave unless I went out into the woods to write out in the, you know, Sasquatch woods. So I never left the bubble of the Ditto House. Where MSP, I was able to leave, like reset my brain, decompress, and then go back in. That was one. The second thing, we want to talk about the places themselves.
Yeah.
Missouri State Penitentiary is so big. It's so huge. It's so open. It's so expansive that if you saw something, a shadow figure, the creeper, whatever, it could be 40 yards away from you, right? In this big, open, huge hall.
Yeah.
So MSP gives you the false sense of, well, I can escape. There's a lot of room to run.
Yeah.
Right. Unless you start getting down into the dungeon or you start getting down to death row, then there's nowhere to run. You're dead. Like that's the scariest parts of MSP. But when you're just in the buildings with the cells, it gives you this sense of almost like being like, oh, cool, look at that. Look at that shadow figure up there, right? Because it's way over there, and I'm way over here.
Gotcha,
right?
yeah.
Ditto House are these little tiny rooms. You can't see into the next room, no matter what room you're in, right? So there's always this feeling that I'm going to turn the corner and walk into an apparition.
Yeah.
It's so claustrophobic, and I think that's the difference between the two, right? Like, there was one time when something scared me and I ran down the stairs, but then I stopped on the staircase because I realized that I didn't know what was at the bottom of the staircase. Right? Because you can't see around any of the corners. So I would walk through the Ditto House to go to the kitchen to like make myself some lunch. And I would go through each room, you know, you kind of just like peek and you go, so there's, you're always, you know, in horror movies when the suspense music builds and like the main character's alone in the house and it's like twilight and you're like, oh, there's a jump scare coming.
Yeah.
I know there's a jump scare. It's coming, right? That is a Ditto House every moment of the day.
Oh,
It is this high stress jump scare, like building up to the jump scare, and it never stops. Because the Ditto House, one thing that I joke about is that whatever is inhabiting that house, paranormal wise, does not care if it's 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. There is no sense of security. Like, sun is out, birds are chirping, not a cloud in the sky, and you're still seeing crap, and things are moving around upstairs, right? So a lot of times in haunted places, when it's daylight, as creepy as the building might be, because it might be abandoned, like, and that's giving you a sense of foreboding, you still have this sense of, well, nothing's going to happen because it's 2 p.m. You know, I can hear people talking outside. There's traffic. There's, horns honking. I can hear a siren in the distance,
Yeah.
people coming home from work, or right, there's kids. I can hear kids playing in the playground. There's a sense of like safeness. The house does not care about that at all. I saw just as many things at noon as I did at midnight. So there's a constant level of, oh crap, what's around this corner? I'm never safe in this place. MSP, when the sun would go down, noises would start happening. And what makes that place terrifying is because it's so big, you don't know where the noise is coming from.
Yeah.
Because it's echoing. And you're like, is that above me? Or is that to the left? Or is it in front of me? I don't know. So they're scary for two completely separate reasons because of the way that the structures are set up.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if you found one location creepier than the other, but you pretty much much answered that.
They're both I find them equally creepy, but for two completely different reasons.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
What fascinates you most about the unknown?
That it's unknown.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always been terrified of death. And I don't know if growing up in a funeral home exacerbated that or I'm not sure. And I think I'm constantly trying to figure out really what happens to us after we die. Like I'm in like this constant need of knowledge of, I just wish someone would tell us, like I just wish it was like concrete, like if I jump in a pool, I'm going to get wet, like every time. There's not a single time that I jump into a pool where I'm not going to get wet. Like, I just wish I knew that this is what unequivocally happens to us when we die. Like, and it never changes. Like, you jump in the pool, this is what happens when you die. And we don't have that. And that part of that scares me and bothers me. So I think I'm in a constant searching of that answer, or just to make, or I've been scared of death since I was a little kid, like my own mortality. I had a point and I lost it. So I'm very intrigued by anything. So one of my favorite movies of all time, hands down, top 5 favorite horror movies is Flatliners, the original Flatliners.
Oh yes.
Because that dove into let's kill ourselves and let's see what's over there. And I'm like, yes, I would yes, I want to know.
Yeah.
Because because I don't know, so I don't know, and that's really scary, So I'm intrigued in the paranormal world, and I don't even know if I even think that the answer lies in ghost hunting, but I think it might. Maybe it makes me feel better. I don't know. Like it's comforting for me.
Yeah.
So it takes the edge off. I don't know. Because I would hate. I would hate to find out that this is it. Right. That when we die.
Yeah.
We snap out of existence and we're done. Like our consciousness ends. There's no more thoughts. There's no more love, there's no more hate, there's no more art, there's no more.
To me, that frightens me.
See, what, that there is more or that there is none?
No, that there isn't.
Right, me too. I think so. That's my thing. I just want that to continue in some capacity, and I just don't want to be nothing, or all of us to be nothing when we die. Is there another dimension? Is there another whatever? I just want something else out there. Are we reincarnated? Heck, I take that. I don't know. Do we wake up on another planet and we're like an alien species and we don't even know Earth exists? That's fine too. I just want something.
Yeah, right. Are there any real world mysteries or paranormal legends that you'd love to explore for a future novel?
Oh man. One of my best friends, he was the bass player in my band for 15 years. Or God, we were in metal bands forever.
I think you were in 4 bands. I think.
Yeah, it was 4 bands total. 2 of those 4, he was my bass player. he just 2 weeks ago went to West Virginia to hunt Mothman.
Oh,
So I'm very, very intrigued by Mothman. It's an interesting folklore. I think that's unique, But I'll tell you,
yeah.
I never in a million years would have said that Sasquatch would interest me. And
Yeah.
if you told me 12 months ago or 18 months ago that, Brian, your next book is going to have Bigfoot as
Yeah.
a main nemesis or whatever, I would have said, you're crazy. I'm not going to write a Bigfoot book. I have no desire to write about Bigfoot. Like, that's stupid.
And here
Nowhere
you are.
in my radar.
Yeah.
And I went to the Ditto House, and I'm like, oh, there is some stuff in these woods that are kind of creepy, So I guess I don't know until I know, because I didn't think I would write a Sasquatch haunted Sasquatch novel.
Yeah.
But Mothman, if I had to pick one, Mothman's pretty interesting.
It's my daughter's favorite cryptid.
You know what else too? Oh, I wandered down this rabbit hole of like skinwalkers, like all the videos.
Yeah.
They look like a dog, but then like saying the person's name. Oh my God, that scares the crap out of me. Yeah, that's terrifying. Yeah.
My daughter and I never want to say the word, so we just say epidermis slow runners. So epidermis skin,
Yeah,
but
those scare me. That's terrifying.
They are very terrifying. If any one of your novels were turned into a film, which one do you think you would choose?
Probably my time travel novel. It's called Yours Truly 2095.
Okay.
I just, when I wrote it, I saw it on the big screen as I was writing it. And I'm a speculative fiction author, which is horror, sci-fi, fantasy. I don't do a lot of sci-fi. As a general rule, it's probably out of the horror, sci-fi, fantasy. Sci-fi is probably the bottom of those three genres that I write at the most. But yeah, Yours Truly 2095. I think it would, if done right, I think would be a really fun movie. I think it would it lends itself for the screen. Or either of these two, or These Walls Still Talk or Unpacking the Ditto House. If you get a good horror director in there, and I think it would be fun. I also have a book called Tomorrow People, and it's a cyberpunk dystopian novel. Kind of like Johnny Mnemonic meets Mad Max meets The Maze Runner.
Oh,
I think that would be great on the big screen too. I think that lends itself to it's almost like the Running Man, Stephen King type deal. So I think that would be fun to see be turned into a film.
If anybody is watching, listening to this episode, and you're into the movie producing side, these are amazing ideas. You need to contact him. People like me want to see these movies.
Yes, me too.
Right? Is there any advice you would give aspiring horror or speculative fiction writers?
Yes. My number one rule would probably be have a professional editor. Either that there is so much wealth and worth in having a professional editor work with you, and not like your mom or your old college roommate or one of your coworkers who says they like to read, because those people can give terrible advice. I speak at a lot of writer conferences all over the country every year. And usually after I do my panel or I give my presentation, I'll have new authors coming up to me and saying, yeah, my book's ready to shop, or if they're going to self-publish, and I had, my sister, I had my sister edit it. I just go, I don't even if your sister is a professional editor, because it's your sister, she can't remove herself that her brother wrote it. Right. So, because I have an author I've been friends with now for about 8 years. Her third book is about ready to come out, and I've been fighting with her for 8 years because her mom is her editor, and she swears to me up and down that nope, my mom puts on the editor hat and takes off the mom hat. And I'm like, no, she doesn't. She doesn't. You know why she doesn't? Because I read your first book.
Oh,
and that's not me. I'm not slamming her as a writer. I can just tell where mom just became mom. Like, like an editor is
Yeah.
supposed to be, I don't care about your feelings. This is the best thing for this book. And
Hmm.
take it or leave it. But, so I'd say that people don't put enough stock in a really good editor, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I preach that up and down, up and down. And two, if you don't think that readers judge a book by its cover, then you got another thing coming.
Yep.
I do anywhere from 25 to 30 book festivals a year all over the
Mhm.
country. In fact, I'm doing one tomorrow. As soon as we get
Nice.
off this, I've got to go pack up my car.
Yep.
I have one in Baltimore, Maryland tomorrow. And your cover is what's going to make somebody who's walking by your booth at a book festival or a convention or whatever, that's what's going to make them stop and come towards you.
Yep.
You can wear the most outlandish outfit in the world. You can have a bullhorn and trying to say hi to everybody. Your cover is what's going to bring them to you. Once they're at you, now it's up to you to have your elevator pitch perfected.
Yep.
Because if you don't have a good elevator pitch, your cover could be amazing and you've lost the sale.
Mhm.
That's another thing I preach. Yes, people judge a book by its cover. We're probably the only profession where people judge a book by its cover, right? Not even movies, because movies have trailers.
Yeah.
Like I have a book trailer for every single one of my books, but that's not common. Every movie has a trailer.
Yep.
Even music. There was a time when we had physical music shops. I mean, I bought in a few albums where I didn't even know the band, but the artwork was pretty cool.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
We can't do that anymore because we're not flipping through artwork anymore. We're not flipping through CDs or vinyl or cassettes, right?
Mhm.
So I truly believe that books are the last piece of art where people are judging it by its cover. And so that's super important too.
Yeah, I've always judged a book by its cover. It's just if it grabs my attention,
Yep.
then I want to read the back, see what it's about,
Yep. And also to make sure that the cover matches the genre.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many book festivals I do where I have some, newbie author whose booth is next to me, and you look at the cover and you're like, oh man, did you write romance? And they're like, what? No, it's like splatterpunk. I'm like, that doesn't look like splatterpunk to me. Like, if you're not giving off the vibe of the tone of the book, then you got a problem.
That's kind of like back in the day when I'm going to be aging myself here, but when music videos first started, I find the video, they acted out what the song was about, and I find now it's not like that.
Yeah, there were many stories.
Yeah, and it was amazing to watch, but not so much now.
Yep.
So we have a few minutes left. I just want to touch on your music just a little bit, if that's okay. Have you ever used real paranormal or dark experiences as inspiration for a song?
No.
Okay. Is there a reason, or that's not the?
Yeah, just not. I mean, it just wasn't what I wrote about lyrics. So writing lyrics and then writing fiction are two completely different things.
Yeah.
And most of my songs excuse me. I know you mentioned that I was in four different bands. All 4 bands released an album. So I have 7 albums total, cumulatively with those 4 bands. And most of my lyrics are very diary-esque or introspective, very like 9 Inch Nails-y type stuff. So, so it's dark in that aspect, that none of it's like happy rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah.
It's more angst driven, so, the best thing I can say is like, Trent Reznor, it's like if Stephen King is my, literary, idol, then Trent Reznor is my lyrical idol. So that's kind of where I stayed with that.
Are there parallels building tension in a song and building suspense in a story?
Yes. Especially if the music like crescendos also, so you can, it's got that same tension in a scene. So you can use different harmonies, different, when you're mixing the song, you can have different instruments be at different levels if you're trying to create some sort of feeling. If the drums are louder, it has more of that like militant driving beat. If you pull the drums back, it's got kind of more of a somber, mood to it. So it could be the same exact song, but how you mix it can actually change the tone.
That's true. Yeah. Do you ever see yourself returning to music, or is writing your main focus now?
Yeah. So my girlfriend has a bet with me that I will be at least doing an overt move by January 1st to, get back into music. That she has a running bet with me. So, so because she can tell that I've been out of it long enough that I talk about it more than I have in a long time. And we go to a lot of concerts, and sometimes I think she watches me out of the corner of her eye, and she's noticed being at concerts, I'm starting to like yearn for the stage again. Like I can kind of like, it's somebody, it's energy. Kind of like, it's kind of like someone who's like, was a huge coffee drinker, right? Maybe drank a pot of coffee a day. And then like, it didn't drink for like 10 years. And then it was kind of like they walked into a coffee shop for the first time and they're smelling the aroma. And you just start going, oh, I think that like, that's where I'm getting to, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm getting to that moment because it's been 10 years. My last album I put out was with my band Yellow Number One, and that was in 2016. So I'm at the 10-year mark. It's the last time I wrote, recorded, released music into the world with a band. And 10 years, I can feel my insides are starting to, get wanting to create again. Yeah.
Well, who knows? You might get back into the music scene.
Yeah, I just can't let her win the bet, so I guess hold on to like January 2nd.
That's funny. Quickly, what is your favorite vehicle? I know what it is, but the listeners might not.
My favorite vehicle?
Yeah.
My favorite vehicle is my car that I own that's in my garage right now. It is a DeLorean.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we'll keep if we can keep talking, but I'm also gonna do something here. So in 2019, I've wanted a DeLorean since I was about 6 years old. And in 2019, I bought one. Nice. And I drive it regularly. It's
you must have been giddy when you bought that.
Yeah, it was. I still. What do you mean? When you should see me now. I'll walk down to my garage right now and just stare at it and say, like, oh my gosh. I was gonna try to throw a picture of it up as my background, but I can't. I can't get it fast enough because I know we're running out of time. So yeah, but the cool thing is I bought the car, 100%. Every penny that I paid for that car came from book sale royalties.
Oh.
Yep. So 2019, my fifth book had just come out. So took me 5 books, 5 published novels, but I was able to buy a 1981 DeLorean, a turnkey DeLorean, which means it didn't need any work. You get in it, you put the key in, you turn it, it starts up, you can drive.
Wow.
100%. I think I got it. 100% with book sale royalties, which is like, so that my books, being an author, paid for my dream car.
That's I love that.
Yeah.
It's great that you were able to do that.
Yeah, ready? I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to back up.
Oh, that is beautiful.
That was like 5 a.m. So of course I got all the lights up, the glow kit and all that. So that's in front of the Capitol in Washington, D.C. This building right here is the nation capital, Washington, D.C.'s capital. So, yeah, that's my baby.
Oh, you're so lucky.
So yeah. So, but I drive, Yeah, I call it's my semi-daily driver.
Mhm.
What that means is that I don't take it to and from work. I don't commute with it, but I
Okay.
drive it everywhere else. So like if I have to go to the grocery store, if I have to go to the dentist, if I have to,
Mhm.
I don't know, go pick up whatever. Like I take the DeLorean. So locally, if I'm staying local, like in my town, or I got to do if I go to the mall with it. My girlfriend and I want to go to the movies, or we want to go get ice cream. We take the DeLorean. We
Nice.
want to go to brunch on a Sunday. We take the DeLorean. So, but I just don't take it to and from work because I have to drive through Washington D.C. to get to work. I just,
Yeah,
I can't. I don't feel comfortable. So
I don't blame you.
I do have a stupid, boring Hyundai for my commute to and from work, but the DeLorean is my getting around town car.
Yeah, your baby.
It's my baby. Yep.
Awesome. Well, could you please tell the audience where they can find you and where they can find your books?
Sure. BrianPaone.com. So it's my name spelled exactly like this. Just put a .com at the end.
Yep.
If you buy any of the paperbacks off my website, I sign them.
Oh,
That's the only way you can get them signed, unless you come see me in person at one of my events. On my website is a tab that says events. You can click that and it'll tell you where in the country I am, my whole itinerary. However, I am also on Amazon in every country. I'm in Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Walmart in every country. And if anybody's watching from the UK, there are a lot of UK stores that I'm in.
nice.
Chains that only exist in the UK. Things that don't exist here in North America.
Yep.
So I can't remember their names, but I just know I'm in them. So like basically like pretty much every bookstore in the US, in Canada, in Australia, in the UK, and a lot in Italy.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm Italian. Like I'm paying.
Yeah,
Well,
that could be
50%
it.
Canadian and 50% Italian, right? So it
Yeah.
might be, but I don't know. Every month I get royalties from Italy. Just blows my mind. Like who's over in Italy like buying my books?
Yeah. Is your book in English or Italian?
No, it's in English. None of my books have been translated yet.
Wow.
We didn't. So my publishing company looked at the cost and the return on investment and the cost to whatever ratio, I forget what the word is. It was too great. It's like we don't know if we're going to sell enough books to have them translated, right? Just let them be English. And I'm selling them. I've sold a bunch in Russia through the years.
That's amazing.
Actually weird because I don't know how they're getting my books, but they're coming. The sales come from over there.
Well done.
Yeah, I know.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate your time. I'm going to have to bring you back to talk about growing up if you're interested.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you have a couple of minutes, hang tight. I'll say farewell to the audience, and then we'll just chat for a little bit if you have time.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. A huge thank you to Brian Paone and to you, my wonderful haunted hearts, for tuning in. I also want to thank UPRN 107.7 New Orleans, 105.3 the Gulf Coast for carrying the show. And if you enjoyed tonight's episode, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. It truly does mean the world to me. And if you'd like to be on the show, you have guest or topic ideas, or just want to say, hey, Kat, what's up in Ontario? Drop me an email at paranormalheart13@gmail.com. And I'd love to hear from what country you're listening from. So until we meet again, take care of yourselves and each other. Much love to you all.